Thank you for tuning in. You're watching Burnham Podcast on YouTube or maybe on Rumble. You can also find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. So wherever you found it, know that you can find it other places too. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, here's how you can help. Head over to patreon.com/Burnham Project. Thank you very much.
The tally light is on.
The tally light is on.
We're ready to go now.
We learned in the last episode all the things you learn on Burnham Podcast. A little light that comes on the camera is a tally light.
We just sat here and talked for an hour. And now the tally light's on.
We did. We talked for a long time now.
Will the flow keep going?
No.
So how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I'm back.
You are back.
What's it been? A good 3 or 4 episodes since I was on?
Yeah. It's been at least... how long? They go by faster than you think.
They do.
Because you think, well, that guy was on last time, and then you look at YouTube or Rumble or wherever, and it's been 6 episodes. It's like, wow.
Well, it's kind of because I've been here for a lot more of them than I've been on here lately. I'm usually sitting over there.
We just did 135. We released 135 yesterday with Wes Chafin. You were here for that.
Not yesterday.
We released it yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then... So there's a time fog, right, for us on our end. You guys watch and listen don't care because it just comes out on Sundays and you listen to it. But for us, like I forget about an episode by the time it's ready because we record on Monday and then it comes out the following Sunday just because we all have real jobs and stuff and it gives Tango a few days to, get things together. You release
one on one day and then you're recording the next one the next day.
Yeah,
so it's all like kind of hard to keep it straight
Right,
sometimes.
So then today I'll think about the last episode as being Wes, but we're recording anyway. So there's that little fog for us where you lose time and you go, well, that was just 2 episodes, or that was last episode, but it's really been 5 or 6. But it's been when were you on? When were you on with Ishmael? What number was your episode?
I don't know.
32, 33?
3 or 4 ago.
Yeah,
something like that. Anyway, what's new? Anything new?
Man, no.
No?
No, we're going to do the New Year's thing is new, the New Year's live show that we're going to do.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
It is. It's going to be cool. We're going to be here, I don't know, depending on when you listen to this. Those of us in this room, understand that we're going to be here on Sunday, and we're going to test the live stuff and the strength of the internet signal. And Tango, you fired up about this or what?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Through all his stress and pain, he's finding some joy in something we have coming up. So.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So we're going to start about 9 o'clock, and we're going to go until we'll have
At
to go
least midnight.
A few minutes after, probably, wind things down.
Bring the gear in together.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It will be fun. We're going to try to have some guests come by. I'm planning on doing a couple of spots of trying some stand-up. Hopefully there's some people here so that it's not just me in a corner and you two guys.
We'll run a laugh track on your jokes.
No, we need to have a few more people here.
Yeah, we'll get some folks in. You can you're going to do a couple stand-up spots, and we're going to talk about some, year in review type stuff. Not only, like maybe a couple of world news stories or whatever. Big things that happened over the course of the year, and then stuff that we did throughout the course of the year, and
a lot of stuff to cover. It's been really cool. So yeah, anything recent that we could talk about?
Man,
about Kat Von D.
Right, that we were talking about this off air, right? And Kat Von D, we know her because she is the queen of the undead.
No, she's not. She's a very talented artist.
Yeah.
And she's recently given her life to Christ. And she said most of the negative comments that came her way was from believers.
That's tough, man.
Yeah. And you got to understand the crowd she ran in. And I don't know if you listened to that thing I sent you or not, but I listened to an interview with her, and she's all like, this whole me being a Satanist and everything, that ain't true. Like, I had all these books and all this stuff, but I really she didn't know that was all kind of connected or whatever. She wasn't intentionally trying to be the queen of the damned or anything.
Right.
But anyhow, she gave her life to Jesus, and a lot of people talk smack about her because she didn't go throw out all of her black clothes and white makeup.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, if you've lived under a rock, I guess, or maybe I don't know, she's in kind of a niche market, but she's a famous tattoo artist. She's been on television shows like LA Ink and Miami Ink.
Yeah.
Famous, in the tattoo community.
Very.
Covered from head to toe, including, neck and facial tattoos as far as that goes. But she always seemed like a really nice person.
Yeah.
When she opened her mouth to talk, it wasn't what you thought was going to come out.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot's changed since she's had her change. She used to speak very, I don't want to offend you people out there because I got a lot of friends from California and I love you guys, but she used to speak very California. Yeah. And since she's changed, you can tell from the inside out that she speaks different, carries herself different. I think it's a great and wonderful thing.
Well, that's what it means, right? To come to Christ. Sometimes it means you change your speech patterns.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does mean you change the way you dress or what. She was never immodestly dressed. She wore black.
Yeah.
So that was an issue, I guess, for some folks, but it wasn't like she was not dressed and not covered.
Yeah. I mean, if you look and listen to her story, you see where she's been influenced her whole life to go down this path. She just didn't follow it. Yeah. I don't think she really understood it, until she became like a mother and started really thinking about stuff.
Yeah. I think that changes the direction for a lot of people when you do things like you get married and you have kids and you realize, okay, this is not all about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, sometimes that means I got to settle down and get a real job, or it means I need to look deeper into the mysteries of the universe, and this leads me to the creator and all the,
Well, which is the path she went down.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, y'all need to go. I would reference.
It's Allie Beth Stuckey's podcast, and man, I forget what it's called right now.
But if you look up Kat Von D podcast, it's the longest one. It's the only real podcast she's done, really. She said she wasn't planning on doing a lot. She wasn't going to talk about this a lot, but she would do one. So go check it out and everything. Yeah. I'll butcher details, but she grew up around believers. I think her parents were believers, and everything. And so I just show you she had that seed in her. It just took a while for it to grow and really come to fruition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and I each, a matter of fact, have done podcast episodes about famous people expressing their faith, right? When we think about Kanye West. Remember, you did an episode about Kanye on the Power Perspective.
I took up for him, and then 2 weeks later, he went and painted himself silver.
Yeah.
But I'll still take up for the dude. I mean, when we sit and think about our typical believer, is Kanye what comes to mind? No. I mean, the dude, he has some mental issues. We all do. I do too. Yeah. I'm medicated too, Kanye. Go get you some. But I think he's a genius. And I think his heart's in the right place, but he's probably dealing with struggles we have no idea about.
Well, and I really appreciated your perspective on that. It wasn't, there were so many people right off the bat. He comes out and he says, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. He's my Savior. All
it
this
made
stuff.
One of the bombest Christian albums ever.
Oh, it was fantastic. But people are like, that's fake immediately, right off the bat, which is the same thing that, Kat Von D looks like she's up against too. But your perspective was, let's give it a shot.
Yeah,
let's see how this goes. They asked Jesus about who his people were, and he said, you'll know them by their fruit. Well, it's got to have a minute to produce some fruit one way or the other,
right.
But we write these new believers off because maybe they don't change the way they dress.
Most of them don't spray paint themselves silver.
Most of them don't, and a lot of them don't have, head to toe tattoos either. And that, that's still, I think we've gone a long way in tattoo culture acceptance, but at the same time, there's still a bunch of folks out there.
Yeah, you're almost a rebel now if you don't have one.
I know. Jessica's always hitting me up. She's like, "Who have any tattoos?" My wife's covered with tattoos. I'll tell her I've got all these natural tattoos.
The freckle,
aka
the ginger freckle.
The freckle, everywhere.
Instead of a soul, you got freckles.
I mean, it is what it is. But there's a.
Listen, I'm a day walker over here. Don't be talking like that.
You got the ginger beard.
I'm a day walker.
Tango, you got one of my favorite tattoos ever.
He does.
Look, he knows immediately which one.
Don't
on
die.
Tango's left forearm, if you've never met him in person, he's got "Don't Die" tattooed right here on his arm.
In like typewriter.
Yeah, like
font.
Script. Yeah, so you can look at it right before you snowboard down the hill or jump out of the airplane or any of that Travis Pastrana X Games stuff that you like to do. Don't die. That's the last. We're not always in control of that, but
this is the one rule: just don't die.
That's it. The one rule.
The one rule. Wow.
But it's a friendly reminder.
I want to know what you were doing at that time in your life when you had to remind yourself to not die.
That's an off-air topic.
Okay.
Oh, is it? I
Maybe
know more now.
Podcast on its all to itself. A whole different subject. But people have tattoos.
I have a couple, nothing major.
I don't have any. I'm not like anti-tattoo. I've just never come to the one that I said want that on me for the rest of my life.
I'm not. I'm less interested now than I ever have been. Like when I was growing up, I always thought I would be covered in them.
Yeah.
That was my plan, was to have like sleeves. My dad and brother were bikers. I grew up around all that, and I was all like, yeah, I just want to get sleeved up. But then every time I would save up that $500 or $600 to go get another tattoo, I would find a car part or a gun or vacation, something. I would rather spend the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And over time, like I got one on my arm. It goes all the way down this side, half of my arm. And it's stupid because I got it when I was like 22. It's my name, so it's all like, it's my name on me. Like, why does? And it's in Old English letters. It's about as white trash, ghetto as you can really be about it. And if somebody would do the tattoo removal for me for free, go ahead, I'll try it out.
Maybe we can get them on the shows.
I'd do it. I keep talking about getting it covered up. I've been talking about covering it up for 15 years. But then you just got another tattoo,
and you might not like it in 10 years,
And every 6 months, I think about something different, which means I don't care passionately enough about anything to go get it, because it's going to have to take up half my arm.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would rather just get this removed. And then I got these little ones on my wrist, nothing.
But I mean, you're not cool these days unless you have a Hebrew tattoo, right?
Right.
I mean, everybody needs a Hebrew tattoo.
Yeah, I guess.
Kids, if you're listening to this, don't run out and get a tattoo in
Everybody
somebody's
quit
garage.
getting Japanese and Chinese letters and started getting Hebrew letters.
Yeah, well, I mean, but even with the Hebrew letters, do we really know?
No.
I mean, you're getting something tattooed on you, and it could be anything. And
maybe I should have done my name in Hebrew. That way I could just make up that it was something else and not my name. I could be like, this means like gentle warrior.
Maybe.
Or I don't know.
So my buddy, you know
Angry
Happy
Rabbit.
Peterson?
Yes.
So Happy Peterson. Happy's his name, right? Happy's a pastor in Ohio, and he's got his name tattooed across the back of his shoulders.
His last name probably. Though.
First name, Happy.
Oh, okay. Mine's my first name. That's
but
what
it's
makes it so
in
trashy.
It's in Arabic, right? So he's in a Turkish bath one time. He's over there in Turkey doing whatever it was he's doing in Turkey. But he's in a Turkish bath, and he's walking around, in a towel with like this big sauna that you're in or whatever, and he's got Happy written on his back. And he's in a place they speak Arabic, and he's looking, he's getting the oddest looks from people because he's got
Happy. Because they're like, why has he got Happy on his back?
Right. Never mind.
In the bathhouse.
Never mind. Happy is 6'13" and he's a lily white ginger, and he's in this Arabic country. Like maybe that's why they were staring at him, but he thinks it was because his back said Happy in their language. Yeah, I don't know. Is that
No. Keep on.
Okay.
Big pasty happy guy.
Right? You stick out like a sore thumb in a country where everybody's 5'9" and brown. I mean, it is what it is. Tango's waiting on some good news right now. That's why.
And we're kind of waiting on it with him.
We're waiting on it with him. May not report it on air due to his employment situation.
Right. That'd be something for them to find out that way, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we looked into your side stuff and.
Right. You were complaining about your job. Is John Briggs still employed? Does anybody know? Anybody talk to that guy?
I haven't checked on him in a few days.
Oh, we're gonna have to cut this last 2 minutes out.
Might. You can only refer to your place as your place of employment as a prison so many times before they run you off.
For the last 3 minutes of content, go to our Patreon.
BurnhamProject.com. It's I don't know. Does Briggs have tattoos? That would get him fired? I think he's good.
He's got one.
Yeah, I don't know. More and more, I feel like the only person in a lot of rooms that I go in that like jiu-jitsu, man, everybody's got some tattoos down there, and
they don't feel pain.
I guess not with them cauliflower ears, and you get a little ink on your arm, and
see in there though it makes sense.
Yeah,
I made an observation when we got these tattoos done. Went in there. A really cool chick did these and did the one on my ex-wife. Her name's Ina. She just like beat cancer's butt here recently too. But anyway, she worked in there. She was super nice and sweet.
Yeah.
You know, we went in there. But the guys she worked with, and I noticed this like in every tattoo shop you go to, and I know some tattoo artists out there, so y'all don't want to smoke. But anyway, why do they always act like they're the toughest people on the planet?
Like people who get tattoos?
No, the tattoo, like men tattoo artists, they always
yeah.
carry themselves like they're an MMA fighter or something.
I don't know.
Like, I ain't saying it's all of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a bunch of people looking at me.
No, but yeah.
But it's like, it just seems, I went in there and and I just started noticing because I've been in a few more. I'm like, why do they always act like, and they always got like Pantera going and it's like through the roof. Like you're trying to just,
I just want to go in there and chill and get some ink. You know?
Really. Like I want a nice, relaxing, mindful type atmosphere with like some kind of Asian instrumental music going, maybe a babbling brook or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you're about to jab me a million times with a needle. Do I really have to have walk? I don't need all that.
I mean, I don't know. I've been in a place or two, but I've never. Not for long. Not for long enough that really bothered me, but it wasn't.
I always get this feeling like you're bothering them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're always like, oh, you want that? Okay, whatever. Everybody wants that. You know, it's kind of, I can't tell how many roses I've tattooed in my career.
Everybody wants a steak at Longhorn too, but the waiter still brings it, right? And doesn't complain.
With a smile.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah.
Maybe I went off the deep end right there.
Maybe a
little,
but it's all good. We were talking about tattoos, so it's not entirely unrelated. You tattoo folks with a bad attitude need to check yourselves. Jesus can help you with that.
Maybe I'd have more tattoos if y'all were friendlier.
If y'all were just nice. Yeah.
Just be nice. I want like the Mr. Rogers tattoo guy. You know what I mean?
Howdy, neighbor.
He's like, here's a blanket for your lap so you don't get cold.
Dude in there in a cardigan and
yeah.
A pompadour.
Maybe like one teardrop tattoo. That's it.
That's it. It's only
Mr.
tattoo.
Rogers with a teardrop tattoo.
Chris, I don't know where you're going to get your tattoos, but every time I've done them, I've went to sleep or whatever.
Oh, really?
Are you that guy? Like, no, I didn't hurt at all, bro.
I went to sleep right across the street when they were doing my leg.
Well, as a matter of fact,
Jessica does that.
The first one I got done, this one, the biggest one, was done with a homemade gun. Okay?
Yeah, no,
that I traded a cordless drill for. What? I traded a cordless drill for the tattoo. Okay? So then he does the tattoo, and he doesn't tell me what to put on the tattoo. So I put Neosporin on this tattoo. Okay?
Bad
so
idea,
after a couple of days, the tattoo looks like Braille. It's like raised up off my skin.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, sorry, it looks really funky. I get in the shower one day and take a rag and it disappears. I mean, you can barely see the outline of the tattoo. And I'm all like, what the bleep, bleep, bleep. Oh. So I get out of the shower and I call the dude. I'm like, dude, this tattoo disappeared. And he's like, what?
It fell off.
It fell off.
It's in the bottom of my shower
he's
now.
Like, what'd you put on it? I'm like, Neosporin. No, that draws the ink. Well, you didn't tell me what to put on it.
No.
So then he came and did it again. And while he was doing it the second time, the needle broke. Well, you know what a needle is made out of in a homemade tattoo gun? A guitar string. So then I go to my bedroom, and I snap the guitar string off my guitar. We make another needle and finish the tattoo.
Do not
do that.
Do not, under any circumstances, let somebody tattoo you with a guitar string.
Oh, it was made out
in
of
a garage.
It was made out of a motor, out of an old cassette deck, and a pen.
Don't be telling people how to make these things.
And a spoon and guitar string.
It's not like it's not out there.
You know, spoon?
You take the spoon.
No, God, please, no, 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 no.
To the long part of the spoon. That way, when you put the wire through.
Why?
But don't do that. But that's how you do it.
Can we bleep all that?
Bro, you're the producer.
You should make it fun.
Just one long bleep.
No, you should make
it
fun where I'm going, and it's just going, beep. So we're back.
We're back. So we're back. We're back, and we're talking about tattoos.
For the last 3 minutes of info, visit our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Burnham Project. Oh, man. Tattoos, though.
We started off talking about people being judged.
No, we're
and
doing
it used
good.
to be people did get judged over tattoos. I don't feel like it's such a big deal now.
It's not. You know, you get people want to point to the Old Testament scripture that's like, don't mark your bodies in honor of the dead. And they want to read this much and go, well, that means you shouldn't have a tattoo. And instead of reading before and after that, where it explains that that was part of a specific cultural pagan ritual
To false gods.
Yeah, that he was warning these specific people in that time against. You know, like, don't take part in this pagan ritual.
Yeah,
and it also had instructions about, you know, how to cut your beard or how not to. But it was the same thing. It was, you know, if you're doing this, that means you're paying homage to this other belief and this other God. And then just don't.
I think he's got, I mean, yeah, it obviously you shouldn't be getting false idols and stuff like that put on you. So, yeah, it's pretty clear. But I don't know that he sits around really worried about that. You know what I mean? As far as tattoos go. But at the same time, I can also say there's nothing wrong with not getting tattoos too. That's obviously the safer route to go. Is if you're worried about it, if it's an issue or not, well, just don't get one.
I have zero regret about any of my tattoo decisions.
Right.
You know, no.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot easier to have zero regret when you didn't do it.
Yeah. And that's not to say everybody that has tattoos doesn't also have regret either.
No. And I mean, I think a lot of people out there that have a lot of them, they look really good and they're awesome. Yeah. And if I'd had the money to invest, then maybe I'd look that awesome too. I mean, but I like other stuff more, so I always spend the money on other stuff.
Tattoo seems to be one of those things, though, you kind of get what you pay for. Like the garage tattoo with the piano wire. You know,
So I'm not a big spender when it comes to tattoos.
Yeah. Me neither.
I'm like, I could buy a set of wheels for my truck, or I could put a cam in the truck. I could do this, that, and the other.
Wish my wife saw it that way. She hadn't got one in a while. It's been a couple years.
But you haven't got any tattoos, so where's your hot rod truck?
That's a good question.
Ask your wife that one.
That is a fantastic
She has
question.
all the tattoos, but where's your truck?
Spent all my tattoo money on...
I think you blew that truck up.
I did. I'm sure that truck blew up, and
Know your worth, King.
Getting that truck tomorrow. You hear that, Jessica? We're going to buy a truck.
Maybe if it's got a Briggs & Stratton motor on it,
probably.
Be down for it.
Probably, yeah. Cut that yard. I think be your truck out there. No, but we're not judging people. Well, I say we're not. We are. That's what we're talking about. I don't feel like it's so much.
Not now.
But it's still a thing on some level.
Yeah, I mean, you still get it at the old school churches. You probably it's just gonna be the way it's gonna be.
My brother, and he's not gonna listen to this either. You know, my brother in his story with church, and they were ostracized one time. My brother looks. You might look at him and think he looks like Kid Rock.
That's exactly what I was thinking before you even said it. I'm all like, he's just a short Kid Rock.
Yeah, he's not quite as tall as Bob Ritchie, but short, long hair, tattoos, whole 9 yards, and he had a really negative experience with church.
I was over the hair though, wasn't it? I think he was pretty much told he had to cut his hair one time.
Yeah, I think that was the deal.
Yeah.
More so even than I don't think the tattoos did him any favors, but I think that was more about the hair. But which is dumb. Which is
nutty, Professor, because, I mean, the pictures they got hanging up of Jesus.
Any picture you've ever seen of Jesus, he's got long hair, right? Yeah. And you think about that time and culture, or anywhere in the world, like, you know, there's nothing, I don't know, long hair, you know, they had long hair then. It wasn't like you could just go to the barbershop and get a haircut any old time.
That's what I'm sitting here trying to think of. Like, I'm sure they had some kind of scissors or whatever.
I'm sure. But, like, throughout history, what has long hair meant, you know, to this different time, or it's definitely not going to keep you out of heaven.
No.
Oh, boy, you need to cut that hair. We're not going to let you in here. Like, okay.
People are silly.
Yeah.
People are absolutely silly. They want to control people. And if you got some riffraff in your church with that long hair. Well, we just can't let that spread around there. You have everybody in here not getting haircuts, wearing blue jeans. Where are we going to be then?
Did I preach in blue jeans this Sunday? I didn't this Sunday.
Did you repent afterwards?
Yeah, I did, 100%. Last time I preached in blue jeans. But I do that sometimes.
Did you wear a belt?
I did. I always wear a belt. It's just an issue. You're forgiving my son because you wore a belt with your blue jeans. And
forgive me for my trespasses as we forgive those that have wore jeans to church.
Man, it wasn't that long ago. Man, it was that long ago. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that long ago. It was just over 20 years ago. I came into a church that was in the middle of a big thing because the music minister's wife was wearing shorts. Was it shorts? I guess it was shorts on stage on like a Wednesday night or something when they were singing.
That was a big deal.
Yeah. Big deal.
I grew up in a church where women weren't allowed to wear anything other than like dress or skirt or whatever. Yeah. If they were members. Now, you can't tell guests what they can and can't wear. But if you were a female member of that church, you were expected to not wear pants inside that church. You were also not allowed to speak aloud in church unless called upon. So it was like when they did the little announcements, if anybody wanted to ask for whoever to get prayed for, they had to raise their hand to get called on. Then, hey, I got a prayer request. It wasn't real. It was very much a hierarchy in a small little Baptist church.
Talking about when they were like, women got to be silent in church. Like, that's a different thing. The Bible says women are not, I suffer not a woman to teach or be in authority over a man. Like, okay, cool. She can't be the pastor or whatever. But like, to be like, you can't speak at all.
We get examples of female teachers, right?
Yeah. No, there are people, that did things, and Paul mentioned them, specifically like Phoebe and different people that did different things. But
Ruth or something.
Ruth. Yeah. Right. The lady that the book of the Bible is named after. There are instances, there are things that women can do. They don't have to remain silent while they're in the building. You know what I mean? Whether they're up in front of the church preaching or not, it's
Over time, people just kind of they. I don't know. You could read the creation of man and woman and perceive it a bunch of different ways. You know what I mean? As far as the hierarchy between men and women. Me and my wife stand side by side. You know what I mean? I'm not standing in front of her or behind her unless there's something trying to get in front of her or behind her.
Yeah.
So I just don't view it that way. My wife is my equal. You know, I think people that really want to push that whole woman needs to follow the man and obey the man. Well, be a man worth obeying, first of all.
Well, that's what it talks about, right? When it's like, the woman, you follow your husband and you be obedient, and it talks about all those things, but then it talks to the man too.
Yeah.
Right? And guys want to stop right there and go, well, dude, that's the way it is.
Yep.
And, well, like, you're supposed to be this guy also. That's somebody worth looking up to in leadership and following and all those. You can't just be like, submit to me because the Bible says so. And like, it does, but it also spells out how you're supposed to act too. You're supposed to love your wife like Christ loved the church.
Yeah, it's that whole speck and plank thing.
Right. Yeah. No, same stuff.
Yeah.
But that, we could tie that back into the tattoo thing too, and so somebody's got some tattoos or they wear black clothes or, what kind of sin do you have? You got a beer in your refrigerator?
Yeah. Well, probably not a beer, but I got a bottle of liquor or something at the house.
Yeah. I don't know. It's but we can look at other people's stuff though and see things and point things out and go, that's wrong, that's bad, you shouldn't be doing that. And we got to examine our own stuff, And no, you keep doing that, dude. You need a light that pops on over there besides the tally light. You had your mouth open, you're like up to the microphone, and I was like, this is gonna be golden.
Nah, I was picking on you because you keep backing up and.
Oh, my bad. Am I being overly animated? Do I need to wear a mic? Would that help?
Maybe.
We'll experiment with that some going forward. I don't have the mic awareness, I'm told.
I was just picking on you, but yeah.
You got to lock in, son.
If it would just like stay with me all the time.
Well, lean on the table.
Is that how I do it?
And
the space?
Don't move.
This is 136th podcast episode.
And if you feel like your back hurts and you need to lean back, but bring
the mic with us. Okay.
I'm teaching you.
Are you judging me? Is that what's going on here?
See, we're learning
Absolutely.
lessons.
That way it's the same place when I'm leaning back, but I like to lean on the table.
Yeah.
So then, ta-dow.
Ta-dow.
I'm locked in, see?
Focused and locked in.
I'm locked in.
Mine swivels with me.
You got a different thing over there than we got. Though. Yours doesn't attach to the table. It's a different element. Anyway, so we're judging people based on their distance from the microphone or their style of clothing or their long hair. But I got to give kudos to the people who are criticizing Kat Von D for not murdering her. You know, at least it wasn't that bad. We were talking about another story earlier today where easy. You remember where we're going here?
Okay. Yeah.
Introduce it. Roll it out.
Let's roll into this. Something that I find I'm a bit of a history buff, so
A little bit of church history. Even.
specifically when it comes to church history, because we kind of need to know. Because regardless of what we think, the world that don't know any better, they view the Catholic Church as part of the Christian culture, right?
Yeah.
We don't view it that way.
Right.
We view them as charlatans,
There you
heretics. But anyway, this was around the 9th century. There was a Pope Formosas. Okay, so long story short, this dude had a lot of issues while he was still alive, too. Like it ended up, he was a bishop here and a bishop there before he became pope. You couldn't be a bishop in more than 2 places at one time or at all or something while you were pope. Anyway, he got pardoned for all that while he was still alive, and eventually died of a heart attack. Well, there was this other dude that came up around the same time as him. It was actually the next pope after he died, and this dude's name was Pope Stephen the Sixth. Pope Stephen had beef so hard with Pope Formosas, okay? And like you might be, what kind of beef? How bad could it be? The dude had already died. So I mean, how bad could your beef be? I'll tell you how bad it could be. He said, dig him up. So they dug him up, put him in his little garb or whatever, and sat him on a throne or on a chair or whatever, and put him on trial. How do you put a dead person on trial? A pile of bones. It meant, I don't know how long the dude was dead when they did this, but if there was anything left, it was probably not very pleasant. You know what I mean? But anyway,
Imagine.
how do you put a dead person on trial?
I don't know. I love the picture that you sent.
Oh yeah, well that's the painting of it, which they say that he really wasn't that Skeletor at that point. He probably still had flesh and stuff.
Yeah, it might not have been dead that
but
long.
That picture looks dope.
It was a skeleton sitting in this chair in front of the room, and he had on like the Pope get up.
It's pretty dope.
And he's yelling at him across the room. He's pointing his finger at this guy, and he's like, "You're gonna, whatever." And okay, if he's who the Catholic Church thought he was probably in purgatory working it off anyway, right?
Right.
According to
the
their
whole
beliefs.
thing they did goes against everything, because it's all like, first of all, he was pardoned while he was still alive.
Right.
So he was pardoned by a pope while he was still alive. Because there was more than one pope. There's like popes, and there's like the royal highness of this, that, and the other. The whole weird little hierarchy back then.
Yeah.
And back then, during the time in the Catholic Church, they went through like 25 popes in 100 years.
Yeah, they just
so you're
burned through
thinking
them.
they were averaging about 4 years apiece or something there. So how do you try a dead guy? Well, then you get one of your deacons to speak on the dead guy's behalf.
He's got to have a defense, right?
Yes. So while Pope, what was his? I'm horrible. Pope Stephen. While Pope Stephen was yelling at the corpse, you got another dude behind the corpse, kind of like giving all his responses. So when he's all like, "Why did you do this and that?" And the dude behind the corpse is all like, "Because I'm evil." Because
Was like a puppet up there.
So they turned him into a puppet.
it's like a little Vatican puppet show. So the guy that they got to speak on his behalf wasn't going to say anything that would take up for the dead guy.
Right, yeah.
Because if this dude's already digging people up that he has beef with, if I try to say something, like, what if I was his best buddy? Like, what if they were buds? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And he
Yeah.
just so happened to be the one that, like, hey, you're going to speak on
Right,
Formosas behalf. And he's like, man, that was like my buddy. I dated his sister in high school.
Right, yeah.
And now I got to speak on his behalf. And he can't say anything positive because if they're already digging people up, what they going to do to you?
Yeah.
So every time they're yelling at the corpse, I just see him back there like, oh, yeah, because I'm evil.
Oh, man.
Because I'm a bad boy.
You know, we talked about who is the Catholic Church murdering. They had
themselves.
They had the Bugatti, the executioner for the Pope. I want to say he was a John, maybe the 6th. No, it wasn't the 6th, and it was further back than John. But the guy, he had executed 500 people over the course of 70 years. And
500 people. We did the math. That's 7 a month.
Yeah,
or so.
it was a 70 a year. Yeah,
7 a year. Yeah.
For 7, yeah. You missed this conversation, Tango. We were talking about this before you got in here. Yeah, the Pope had an executioner.
Well, yeah.
And this dude started,
I knew that.
If he lived to be 85 and he was executioner for 70 years, that means he started at 15.
At 15, just whacking one
earlier because the Pope made
yeah.
him retire.
Yeah, the Pope forced him out at 85. Made
That's
him
what
retire.
happens when you're in the mob. Once you get that old, you get a little rusty. Maybe a little shake in it. Maybe a little you ain't getting a clean cut the first time anymore.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why he ran him off at 85. He just wasn't getting it done.
I got a question though.
Well, that's not the end of it for Pope Formosas, but what's your question?
But I want to know, what is the punishment for a corpse? How do you punish a corpse? What are you? Do you put him in prison? Do you dip him in a barrel? What do you do?
Let me tell you what they did. So they took his popeness from him. They cut off his these right 3 fingers right here, because you know, like all the paintings and stuff, they're like this.
Yeah.
If you can't see me from the camera, they're always like this or like this. That's like their blessing fingers or whatever.
Well, he's got the ring that he wears too.
Yeah, and all that. Well, they cut his 3 fingers off, and they take off his Pope garb, and they bury him in a commoner's grave.
That's it.
And then, no, that's not it. Then Pope Jack Weasel here decided that wasn't good enough. So then they dug him up a second time and threw him in a Tiger River. The body landed in a Tiger River. Some monk found it downstream somewhere and hid the body like in a secret burial place, okay? And then after years and years and years went by or whatever, not years and years, shortly after that, the people finally had enough of this crazy dude. Like, he's digging up people. He's lost his mind. Finally, the commoners revolt. And they go, and they're like, we ain't going to put up with this. He's digging up dead people. Dude's lost his mind. He's throwing him in the river. We got to do something about it. Well, then they put him in, he gets put in jail, and he ends up getting stabbed and killed in jail.
The active Pope.
The
one who punished the corpse.
The Pump Jack Weasel, yeah. So Pump Stephen the 6th. And he ends up getting killed in jail. Well, later the Catholic Church reestablished Pope Formosas as a pope. I guess they got his body.
Did they give him his fingers back?
I doubt that. They were probably thrown in a river. But his body now is where all the other pope bodies are.
So they pardoned him again.
They pardoned him.
So the guy.
Well, they convicted him and then pardoned him after he died the first time.
That's what I'm saying. So he got in trouble, and then they pardoned him, and then he died, and they dug him up, and they convicted him again, and
they buried him, and then dug him up again,
and then dug him up again, and then he got
thrown into the river.
Yeah, in the river.
Then buried again.
And then somebody hit him and buried him again.
And then he was dug back up and moved.
So then he got dug back up again and put into the Pope tombs.
Is this the most anyone's ever been buried and dug up?
I don't know.
No. Because we have a guy here in Rome, Charles Graves, the known soldier.
He's not been buried that many times.
He's been buried 3 times.
Well, didn't Lincoln get moved like 7 times?
Lincoln was in a carriage being paraded around the country.
Oh, okay.
Well, Lincoln...
He didn't get buried several times. He just got moved around.
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know.
I know they paraded his body around.
I know there was like a mass grave robbing thing going on, and that's when they actually instituted the Secret Service. Because the president didn't have any... You could go to the White House door and talk to the president if you wanted to.
Well, I always thought the Secret Service was because of counterfeits. That was part of it.
Yeah, I mean later on, I guess, but the original I say Secret Service, the original presidential security detail was at his grave because they were going to rob it or whatever. Which sounds like they should have had that for the Pope.
Well, we got to think about this Pope dude. He got buried the first time. He got dug up and buried again, and then he got dug up, thrown in the river, and buried again. So then he got moved and put into the Pope tomb. So theoretically, 4 times he'd been buried or put to rest.
Okay, so 4 times. Charles Gray's only been buried 3 times. Holy smokes.
That's not the word. I mean, I guess that's pretty bad. There was another Pope that his own clergy tried to poison him, and when it didn't work, they just beat him to death. The Catholic Church has got it going on.
They do. They always have. There's always been, you look back at all these popes, and there's always been this wild stuff. Pope Innocent was the one who convinced everybody that the power of the punishment of life and death was in human hands, and he could go ahead and make that decision. Pope Innocent is what they called him. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of wild stuff going on.
Well, there was another one I tried to research, and then I found out it wasn't true. I'd always heard about the Hitler's Pope.
Hitler's Pope, yeah.
And I don't know. I listened to a couple podcasts about it today, and they're saying it wasn't true. Apparently, a lot of people thought that he was kind of almost helping Hitler at the time, and if not, he was at least a sympathizer. But come to find out, he actually hit a lot of Jews and did a lot of good stuff for the Jews during that time. So.
Well, that was the story, was that on some level the Catholic Church had funded the Third Reich, and I don't know if that's true or not, but it's I don't know.
It's not out of the realm of believable possibilities.
I guess not, man. The longer I live and the more of these things that I see come around, not just Catholic Church related, but just in general, the more I'm inclined to believe these wild conspiracy theories. Yeah. At least give pause to investigate a little bit and go, well, no, I don't think so, or I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's some grace there for some Catholics, because there's some that do profess that Jesus is.
Look, man,
but I think the organization itself is not a good thing.
Well, the problem, and I do think that there are some people that I know who are Catholic that I'll see them in heaven, because they love Jesus with all their heart. We disagree about a lot of things because they're wrong about a lot of things. But I feel like there are Catholic brothers and sisters that I'll see in heaven. But it's the organizational structure, and when that there's no direction in the New Testament church for the church to act as a civil government of any kind. And we see. You talk about the Vatican, Rome. They do that. The Vatican is its own country, and they got their own laws, and they kind of trickle outside of the Vatican among the Catholics throughout the world. But then the Protestants are not immune from that either, because you think about something like the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, that happened over here.
Yeah, that was here, and those were Protestant people, and they were the local government, and they were going, well, that person is a witch. Or maybe she's not, but we're going to prove it by drowning her in the lake.
Okay. I mean, there's been a lot happen in the name of God that I'm sure he's shaking his head for, or about, because these forefathers that we put on these pedestals that we love, because we love our country, and we're thankful that they did what they did. Yeah. But they all had slaves.
Well, what was
and
the
they
one
all
thing?
They all claimed to be Christian and everything, but
so many of them did.
And they also had slaves, and then they would use Scripture to justify having the slaves.
Yeah.
Because obviously in the Old Testament it's okay to have a slave, and I mean, I don't know really what to say to combat that other than slaves are bad. Okay.
Well, and we got to be really careful about this. In so many instances in Scripture, when we're talking about a slave or a servant, it's not
what we're thinking as a slave.
It's not what we know as chattel slavery, where we went to, people go to Africa, or existing tribes in Africa captured one another and sold each, however that worked. And you came here and somebody just owned you because they wanted help in the garden.
Well, sometimes a slave was you owed somebody money. So
that's
you had to work off the money.
Right. When you look at the biblical slave, a lot of times that was the deal. The slave, the servant, you owed them money. It was part of some type of political agreement or something along those lines. The Bible doesn't, people point out where the Bible talks about having slaves, and it doesn't really condone it. Right, it's not like the best thing in the world, obviously, but it's not what you see so many times in Scripture is if you're going to do that, here's how you should do it. But we talk about people being like families, households. When they talk about the household in the New Testament, the slaves, the servants are included a lot of times. So that's when you're thinking about, could this person be somebody they tied to a post and beat and still be considered part of the household? Well, no, probably not.
Yeah.
And it's not quite the same thing. It wasn't good. You can't put somebody to work for X number of years until they,
If you think about it, though, humans choose slavery sometimes. People will get mad. Listen to me.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm not talking about American slavery, by the way. Those people did not choose to be slaves.
Yeah.
But in the Old Testament, we see, God takes his people and puts them in the wilderness, and he gives them freedom. And yet they continued to make the idols, and they
wanted to go back at different points.
And they continued to ask for a king, and he eventually gave them a king.
Yeah.
So God's plan was freedom,
right?
But we demand to have somebody rule over us.
Yeah.
We choose slavery.
Yeah.
Again, people, I'm not talking about American slavery. I'm talking about humans as humans, not as
but they want to be ruled. It wasn't like, hey, let's establish some form of government. It was like, hey, just put somebody in charge so he can tell us what to do, and we'll just do it. Okay.
And God's like, well, I'm trying to do that for you. No, we need somebody we can see.
Right, yeah, somebody we can touch, because it's all about me. It's what I want, right? And that's not what it's about at all.
Yeah. Well, we often do choose what enslaves us, in our day-to-day lives, for sure.
We do, like a rotten job, right? Or I didn't mean to point fingers at anybody, but it's, but we do. We pick those things. And
nicotine, caffeine.
Yeah. TV, or your phone, social media, whatever. There are plenty of things that we're enslaved to these days that we choose.
You look so happy.
Why are we staring at me?
Because you look so happy.
You look fired up back there, dude. You got good news yet, or what?
Well, wait, we can talk afterwards.
Okay. Look, just a thumbs up or down right now.
He got a sweet.
Have you received it? Okay. Yeah. All right. Middle ground.
The last 35 seconds of content. Patreon.
Burnham Project.
Okay.
It's Patreon. Yeah.
So we got a pope that dug folks up.
That's wild, man.
Beef with them.
I've known some petty people in my life, man.
That's a new level of petty.
Pettiness has got to end at the grave. You know what I mean? Like, you got to let it go. He's dead.
You were right about the Lincoln thing, though. He was dug up quite a few times.
Okay.
What? Did you look at that?
So the whole thing is a group of Chicago gangsters who were also counterfeiters decided that they were going to dig up his body.
So you were right,
put him on ransom for $200,000.
Ooh, that's a ton of money.
Like $5 million back then.
Yeah,
something like that. But they were kind of they were stopped in the middle of the action. So he ended up getting dug up anyways, and the Secret Service at that point was moving him kind of a few times to a bunch of unmarked graves until he landed in his final grave, which is about 4 feet deeper than normal.
Yeah.
And has about 10 feet of concrete.
Wow. Arlington or something? Or?
He's in Illinois.
Okay.
Like Springfield or something like that.
That's where he was born, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
He? Yeah.
So he got dug up a few times, but can you imagine a current president digging up an old president because he got mad at him?
I do not.
I
don't. Yeah.
I mean,
wait till old Trump passes, and then we'll see.
They'll dig him up and impeach him again, right? And so
they'll parade him around.
I would not doubt it, man. I would not doubt it at all. It's so petty and sad out there.
Well, that's where we live now, right? Whoever the next president is going to get impeached by the other party. And then when the other party gets back in, they'll impeach the other guy. And then it just, I don't know, that's where we are now.
Speaking of politics.
Okay, roll
Alex Jones is back on Twitter.
Let's talk about this. Alex Jones is back on Twitter, right? At first, I think Roseanne got back on. And then Alex Jones is back on now. But Elon Musk was like, I'll never let Alex Jones back on Twitter.
He's back.
They had like some real personal beef. Elon Musk had lost a child at some point. and took like serious offense to what Alex Jones said about the Sandy Hook people.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get it. And it's Elon Musk. He spent $44 billion on this thing. If he wants to kick one of us off, then he just can.
Yeah.
So he had done. Actually, Jones got kicked off before. And
Jones got kicked off before for
and he just
comments about
gonna,
a CNN propagandist. But
Well, he's been going to court for all that stuff.
Yeah, they sued him for $1 billion.
Yeah.
So, but he just wasn't going to let him back on. Well, then he puts it up for a vote the day before yesterday. 2 days, yeah, I think 2 days ago, and was like, "Hey, you guys think I should let Alex Jones back on?" And overwhelmingly, people said yes. So he's back on, and here's where this affects us, and it may still be right now. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, everything's straightened out. Steven Crowder has Alex Jones on his Rumble show, and yesterday, and now Rumble doesn't work today. Rumble's been down all day long.
You think it's because of traffic, or they pulled the site down so people wouldn't listen to the Crowder
Kris
show?
Pavlovsky, the guy that owns it, says they've been experiencing cyber attacks like all weekend, and then it has spilled over into today.
Can you still listen to it? Like
no,
Crowder's podcast, can't go listen to it on the
I'm sure
Spotify?
That maybe somewhere on Spotify or audio only you can listen to it, but I don't know if he's Rumble exclusive.
I know he has his Friday shows.
Yeah.
On
this wasn't a Friday show, was it? Wasn't this yesterday?
Yeah, I know he pops on every now and then, and they'll take those episodes off of other places.
I don't know if you can listen to it audio only or not, but I think he's Rumble exclusive. But Rumble hasn't worked. I've tried to get on and check our because I'm obsessed about our numbers, but I tried to get on earlier and look, and it didn't work, and it didn't work, and it didn't work, and I've checked throughout the day periodically, and it just hasn't worked. And I go on Twitter, and I see everybody going, "Hey, man, Rumble's not working." And then I didn't realize that Alex Jones had been on the show, but they did like
it's on Spotify.
It is on Spotify.
That man can break the interwebs.
I'm telling you, man. But like
Alex Jones exclusive interview. Elon brought him back. What's next?
What's next?
I have to listen to that.
They're turning the freaking frogs gay.
Here it comes.
Did you ever listen to the one Joe Rogan, Steven Crowder? It got heated.
It did get heated.
They got a little spicy.
Yeah, it did. But I mean, that's I try to avoid that here. That's one of the criteria that I use to filter guests. One, am I interested in talking to this person? Two, is it going to be somebody I have to argue with on the show? I don't want to do that. There's plenty of shows you can go on and argue.
Yeah.
God bless Joe. Like, whatever. They can do whatever they want.
Well, in that particular argument, Joe sound kind of like an idiot because he was very one-sided in how he thought.
Yeah.
And Crowder sounded like an idiot because he has no experience with the issue.
Right.
If y'all want to know what we're talking about, go listen to the podcast.
Yeah, just go watch the show.
But they both looked kind of foolish to me. I thought, even though I agree with Rogan's side on the issue, he looked like an idiot.
Yeah.
He looked kind of childish anyway.
You can't be so close-minded in a discussion. And not that you have to accept the other person's point of view, but the other night we were looking at, you were talking about Greg Locke. And they had a debate, and I forget the other guy's name.
Let's put this out in the universe right now.
Yeah, let's get it out.
Greg Locke, I'll fight you in a Wendy's parking lot in Summerville, Georgia. I don't care.
You got a Wendy's in Summerville?
I would love to punch that guy in the mouth.
Man, I'm watching this. They had a debate, Tango, about flat Earth, right? And there was two pastors. Greg Locke was defending the round Earth.
The round Earth. And
this other guy was defending flat Earth. All Greg Locke had to do was defend the spherical Earth that we all pretty much accept, right? There's some cases that you can make for the flat Earth, whatever. But all he's got to do is be like, hey, the Earth's round. Here's what the Bible says about that. But he was such a jerk, the guy ends up throwing the microphone at him by the time it's over.
Well, he demands the dude leave.
Locke kicks him out, tells his sound guy to shut his mic off. The dude tosses the mic at him.
Yeah, he calls the dude a Bible denier.
Bible denier, yeah. So what it amounted to, though, was Locke was completely unequipped to have the debate. He just couldn't. And his pride wouldn't let him admit it. So then he's just insulting the dude.
Yeah, he kind of just his only argument is, well, we all think it's round.
Yeah,
right. We just all know it's round. We just all know it is. He didn't use. I mean, I can argue both directions on flat Earth. You know what I mean? And unless I have a rocket ship and can go up and verify that we're on a flat Earth, I mean, it's just one of them things I don't care enough about. I can see the argument in both directions. But I'm not going to get so mad that I run a dude out of my church. And
well, that was kind of my thing. Like, why would you have that debate? Like, why would you give that debate a platform anyway?
Why are you even debating? Like,
if you don't know, just shut up. That's kind of my deal.
It was such a pride thing, though. Like, I think he felt like he knew, and then he could get this guy up on stage with him and, like, own him or,
well,
get
that's my
the
problem
win.
with him is he has such this arrogant attitude now. He thinks that his crap don't stink. Like, he just thought he was going to pretty much show up and just win because he's Greg Locke.
Yeah, well, you were ready to get me the other day when I posted a John Locke quote, and you were like, is that arrogant pastor guy? And I was like, wait a minute.
I had to make sure which Locke you had posted.
Yeah. You were like, oh, no, that's Greg. It's Greg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I see a lot of people posting Greg Locke stuff here and there. And, I don't argue with them or nothing. People are going to think what they think. Because when he first hit the TikTok, he was saying a lot of stuff I liked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But then he went off the deep end. He's a complete nationalist.
It's just so emotion driven. Like, all of his viewpoints are just emotional.
Well, I never see hardly any big TikToks that he's done where he's preaching the word. It's always his opinion on something.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Or some idle threats from the pulpit to the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, yes, it is true that if you're a man and you go in the bathroom with my daughter, there's going to be some smoke.
Right.
Okay? I don't have no reason to get up there and preach that to the congregation, though.
Yeah, right.
And that's the kind of stuff he does.
Yeah.
He gets up there and gives these ultimatums to the world. When you're at your church, you're preaching to your people, not to the world. He knows he's on video.
Well, that's right. That's what I was going to get into. How much of that are you doing? You're posturing up there because you know that X number of people are watching the live stream.
It's going to be on the internet.
Yeah, you're preaching for sound bites, and man, I hope that's not. We don't even record our sermons here, but like that's not what I want to do.
All that does is get your people. You're just getting them to rally up over some negativity, man.
Yeah.
And that's like the last thing you want to do with your congregation is it's all hate together.
Right. Look at like Westboro Baptist Church,
sure.
And people like that it's a hate thing. Like you said, let's all hate. That's a good way to say that. Let's all hate the same stuff. Well, like let's all hate sin and evil.
Let's hate pedophilia.
Yeah. We don't have to hate a person that
because they think the world is a different shape
and otherwise like would agree with us on 95% of other biblical issues.
I just don't see you standing in front of heaven and they'll be like, oh, you thought it was flat?
Yeah. Right. And you have long hair?
Burning. Oh, you thought it was round? It was flat.
It's been flat this whole time.
It's secretly flat on a turtle's back.
Yeah, which y'all
and there's
really
an
didn't
infinite
know
turtle loop.
is that it's shaped like a hot dog. That's what y'all really don't know.
A hot dog shaped earth.
It's an ice cream
I think we
cone.
just named this episode hot dog shaped earth.
Hot dog shaped earth. Oh, we gotta call it something to do with
with the Pope,
murdering popes. Or digging up.
Not murdering the
popes.
Pope.
We're not doing that.
The Pope. This is going south.
Digging up popes.
There you go.
That have already died and passed away.
Pope versus Pope.
Didn't a pope just die not too long ago or something? Or did we still got the same guy?
No, we still got the same
had one
guy.
quit for the first time ever, didn't we, a few years ago?
Benedict hung it up.
What do you think that's about?
I think he was 78 when he took the position. So, like, I mean, he's up there, and he's got a limited time anyway. He was kind of, understood to be a placeholder. Like, he ain't the guy that we want, but he's the guy we got right now. Apparently there's criteria to be a pope. I don't know. But, so yeah, he was the guy for a while, and he did it for a couple years, and he's into his 80s, and he quit. I don't know. I think another pope has quit before, but it's been maybe hundreds of years. That's typically, a job that you take to the grave with you, and then smoke rolls out of the place over there in Italy.
And then they take you out of the grave, and you take it back to the grave with you again, and then they take you out
of the river, and then you bury him again.
You get practice at dying. Catholicism.
Yeah, you can die a bunch of times if you're Roman Catholic.
If you make the wrong guy mad. I've never been that mad.
I mean, no, I've never been mad enough to kill somebody.
Well, he didn't even kill him.
No, he
never got mad enough to just dig somebody
dug
up.
him up.
That's a new level. I gotta step up the petty game.
Some
then
serious. I wonder if there's a movie about that.
There's one thing where you get mad enough to bury somebody.
Yeah.
But I think it's a whole nother level to dig them up. That's an extra level of mad.
Well, that's just hate. Right? I could. There's a scenario, right, where a human being could be mad enough to kill somebody. It happens, right? A crime of passion,
Every day,
they call
yeah.
it. But to like, and you regret it immediately, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and whatever. But to dig somebody up who's already buried, there's not. That's only hate. Like that's all that can be is hate. That's not like, I don't know. You didn't dig him up and ask him to forgive him. You know what I mean? Like, would you please forgive me? I dug you up.
He had already been forgiven for what he dug him up to convict him of.
Right. It's just hate. You can't.
The fact for me, the scary thing for me is that it took all that to happen before the people rose up.
Yeah.
Like they just stood there and watched him dig the person up. There wasn't just him and a dead body and the guy speaking on behalf of the dead body.
No, there was
in
a
the
committee,
room.
right?
There was a whole committee in there watching this all go down.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're just all like, yeah, this is normal. We did
everybody's
this last year. We do this all the time. Yeah.
But who's going to be the one guy to be like, hey, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe the corpse puppets isn't okay.
And then when they finally dug him up again and threw him in the river, that's when everybody was like, hey, I think we should do something. I think we should say something. Stephen has lost it.
But I mean, you got to be the guy though, and risk being killed and dug up 2 or 3 times if you're going to be,
Did y'all see what they did to Frank? They made him talk like he's the dead guy.
I know. Out there.
Frank was like his best friend. That was totally morbid.
I wore my Martin Luther hoodie in here tonight. I don't think it was a coincidence. No such thing as coincidence. But like, I don't know. You think about that guy and who the one guy who stood up against 1,000 years of tradition or whatever, and like Luther did that. They were going to kill him. He fled for his life for the rest of his life. Yeah, as long as he lived, they were going to kill him. But somebody's got to be the first man through the wall.
I guess. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I try to think about things from all different sides, but there's no way in my mind for me to justify that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There are people who the world is better off without. Yeah. The world was a better place when Hitler died.
Yeah.
There was no reason to dig Hitler up and kill him again, or put him on trial or make him talk like a puppet or whatever. Hitler, Mussolini.
We never found him either.
Yeah, right. He's just gone. Wherever he's in Brazil,
Argentina.
Argentina. I knew it was a South American.
It's either there or he's in Russia somewhere, and they won't let people see the body.
I think he's probably gone now, though, because he died like 80 years ago. And I don't know how old he was 80 years ago. But
was it the 40s? And he was probably in his 50s?
Maybe,
he'd have to be 120 or something now?
I don't know. Maybe he found the fountain of youth down there, but he's probably not anymore. But yeah,
well,
that
him
was the
and all
story
the other Nazi scientists that ended up working for the CIA and training our people, they found a fountain of youth somewhere probably, right?
Yeah, probably.
Right, maybe in that spaceship that they were hiding.
Woo.
Under the flat Earth.
Oh.
Where the lizard people live.
Under the flat Earth.
Earth's hollow. There's lizards down there.
There's a giant gorilla down there named King Kong, too.
No. It's lizard people, okay?
Lizard
they
people.
secretly control our world.
Don't talk about T
So
Swift
anyway,
like that.
It's been a lot of fun. We're going to jump off.
Through the Illuminati.
I mean,
taxation's theft.
You're just throwing stuff out, but like all that stuff means something. And there's somebody that believes it out there, and there's somebody else who's thinking, they got a point.
Well, I believe a lot. There's some conspiracies that I do believe.
Yeah, more by the day, and that is what it is. And I figure I'm a pastor, a Christian, political conservative. I'm going to get called names regardless.
Yeah.
I might as well dig into some of these conspiracy theories that, these days we're just calling them spoiler alerts now, right?
Yeah, pretty much. They're just previews.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm careful about that, though. Like, I've always been like a Bigfoot enthusiast. Like, I think the concept is fun.
When Bigfoot made more sense to me? Because my whole life we've all watched all these shows.
Yeah,
Every year
right.
there's a new show and they never find him.
Yeah.
It's when I heard the possibility that he's an interdimensional being.
See, they lose me there.
That's where they get me because I'm all like, well, that explains why we can't find him.
He disappears.
No,
where I was going, though, was that it's fun. Like, it's a fun thing to think about because I hunt and I go out in the woods and, there's Bigfoot out here with us, But, like, I wouldn't ever say that I believe in Bigfoot.
I don't know that I believe. I know I don't believe in Bigfoot. I do, like the alien things, we talked about it before. I do believe that there's something they call aliens. What that really is up to debate. I think it's more evil. I'll just say it. I think it's more of an evil thing as a facade.
Yeah.
But Bigfoot, no, I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Well, I mean, I believe it's like a dangerous word anyway, right?
Because
we believe in gravity, right?
But we can't measure it.
Well, we can 9.86 meters per second, whatever. But we believe in Jesus, right? So I wouldn't say I believe in Bigfoot and believe in Jesus. Like you can't. That's you're treading on thin ice there as far as our language goes. And
yeah, I mean, the interdimensional thing sounds cool. But then
that's a new thing for me. I remember watching. I remember being home from school sick one day and watching. It was In Search of. I think Leonard Nimoy was the host, guy that played Spock on Star Trek, and they were talking about Bigfoot, and then henceforth, when I'm at home sick, it's Bigfoot documentaries, and I watch these shows, and they never find it's never out there. Like, we got some hair, and like, oh, it's a cow or it's a bear, or whatever. But it's fun. It's fun for me. Like watching a football game is fun.
It is fun.
I don't pray to the.
I go down there. You ever get look at it like on TikTok? People walking through the woods and you hear this weird, and then people take off running. And it's all like it's probably faked or it's probably a bear or it's probably this that, but it's still fun to kind of go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I go down there and I go down the Skinwalker rabbit hole. And that's a spooky one.
I'm not familiar with that. I know there's a show about it or whatever, but I'm not.
Apparently, there's a lot of these people that believe in the Skinwalker, and I guess it's supposed to be. Your generation probably knows a little more about this. To me, to my belief, it's like a creature that can turn into a person or an animal. They can mimic people
like a shapeshifter.
Yeah, like a shapeshifter.
Kind of.
Okay, so, let us know.
So it's a Navajo lore. And it's a really bad medicine man. It's a guy who got into some evil, dark things. And that's how he's being punished, basically, is now he has to roam the earth.
Forever.
Shifting in between. And, they're not great things.
You believe they're real?
Some people consider them like... They're like... There's evil dogs that'll hunt you and get you, and then there's a whole list of laundry list of what they can do and what they can't do, and where they'll come up. And
we got to think, where's all this stuff start? Like somebody.
Well, this all started in Navajo lore.
Navajo folklore, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Utes and the Navajo kind of created that.
They also ate a lot of mushrooms.
Yeah.
And drank ayahuasca and all that kind of
sure, but
stuff.
if you go up toward the northern, you get the Wendigos, which is up north lore. It's basically a Skinwalker, but worse.
I think we mentioned the Wendigo.
Yeah,
we've
mentioned the Wendigos before, and we've talked to Skinwalkers.
Have we? I've never talked Skinwalkers before.
There are conspiracy theories.
Talked about it off air. I don't know anything about it. This is what you guys have said in the last 2 minutes.
Well, I will tell you that whether it's real or not, there is some scary TikToks out there of people that if they made these videos, they made them good because they're creepy as crap.
You are the source of 100% of the TikToks. So I don't have TikTok. you send me 9 of them a day.
I have a down moment. That's usually what I'm scrolling. Yeah. It's taking place. If I'm on Facebook, it's Marketplace. Yeah. And if I'm not, it's TikTok.
TikTok. Tango, you on TikTok?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I do Instagram stories every now and then, but TikTok, to me, it learns it's whatever you're in the mood for that day. Like if you interact
the algorithms.
whatever you interact with the first part of that day, it'll give you a bunch of it that evening. You know what I mean?
I got you.
So if you're on there looking at a bunch of shaking cheeks and all that kind of stuff and interacting with it, then your evening's going to be full of shaking cheeks. Yeah. But if you're interacting with like car stuff and, dogs, the stuff
so
I interact with because I'm a good boy, I get all that kind of stuff.
It's like instantaneous algorithm.
It's like instant hit of dopamine because you're like, oh, that was cool. Let's go to another one. Let's go to another one.
Yeah. And I feel like it's definitely shortening my already short attention span.
Well, that's the problem, right? We've shortened it down like Vines. I used to love Vines.
7 seconds at a time.
7 seconds. And they could do like the complete and total lack of context in so many of those videos just made it hilarious.
No, Vine was awesome.
Yeah.
And TikTok started out that way. Yeah, but now we can make 3-minute videos. So
right. But we got 10-minute videos.
Yeah. So
we're about to cut one about an hour and a half here. So take that, TikTok. Short attention span theater.
But Vine was definitely gold.
Vine was cool. Vine was fun.
That's where our favorite old dudes got their start, the Pauls.
Elon should bring Vine back since he owns it.
That's the rumor. The story is that
he could kill TikTok real quick if he brought it back. Oh, 100%.
If Elon brought Vine back, I might sign up for that.
Oh, I have.
But I'm not. I don't know. I say that I probably wouldn't. I
guess
don't
I
have
was
the bandwidth for TikTok.
Uninformed, but when Vine disappeared, I had no idea that it was going to. It's just one day my app quit working.
Well, I didn't know. I'm the same kind. I didn't know it was going to. I didn't know it was a thing until it was gone. Like
I got it like the last 6 months. It was around.
Oh, and then it just disappeared one day. One of our favorite things to do as a family is get around maybe the laptop or even somebody's phone. Me and Jessica and Ayla. And we'll go on YouTube and watch the old Vine compilations. So 20 minutes worth of Vines. Clean ones. They got clean ones on there. But, it's some of our favorite stuff. That's what we do. But that's TV in 2023. Like, you can go watch stuff with commercials and be super lame, or you can
I used to watch a whole lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
And now I have to really be in the mood to actually sit down and watch. Because most of the people I watch make 2-hour videos. Like all these car restoration, rescue stuff. It's all at least an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I really going to sit here and just watch one video for an hour? Yes. I'm going to scroll while I'm doing it.
Destination Hometown is like a 15-minute bite-sized video. And
they're way more chewable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, we're sitting here making an hour-and-a-half long video. So, I mean, it's different when you're participating, though, isn't it?
Well, I listen to podcasts. I don't watch them. So to me, the video part of it don't matter. Yeah. But a lot of people do watch. So
I don't watch. Now that you mentioned, I don't watch any podcasts.
Now every time I turn the app on my TV, it pops up Burnham podcast or this. Yeah.
Do you still call it a podcast if you're watching it, or is it just a show? Is it like a weekly show?
My understanding, and I've only been doing this for 5 years, so I may be wrong, but my understanding is the podcast is a pre-recorded thing. Like that's kind of what it evolved into. I guess it started being called a podcast because you listen to it on an iPod.
Right.
Nobody does that anymore, but it's still a podcast because it's this pre-recorded thing that you put out.
It's just a video recording of you recording the podcast.
I hope it's still a
but
podcast.
Like a video recording, I figured that would be like a show. Like this is a weekly show. This is MASH.
This is MASH?
I mean, we ain't MASH.
Man, he really
this is your weekly dose of the Burnham.
But I mean, I hope it's still a podcast because that's literally the title of this show.
If not,
I refer to it as a show so many times too.
It's a video recording of us recording a podcast.
You said show.
I fixed it.
Jocko is podcast too.
Well, a podcast is a show, right?
I mean, we talk about radio shows like that used to be a thing, a radio show, and you weren't showing anything; you were listening to the radio.
Yeah, youngin.
Well, the term though, I think the term is
that lit?
I think we're stuck. Why are you being so sus?
Why are you being so sus, yo?
No cap, no cap.
No cap?
No cap. No, I think we're stuck with the term podcast. I think it just caught on, and I don't think it's going to change. I hope not, because that's the name of the show. That's a lot of rebranding we'll have to do. This could just be the Burnham Project talk show. Let's not do that.
We can still keep a podcast. Everybody else can change. We'll stay the same.
We'll be the only ones. It'll be easy to find us in the directory.
Yeah.
Podcast. The only one that still says podcast.
It'd be easy to find
Us and
then.
maybe Jocko. Maybe Jocko stays with it too. Jocko's got like 3 shows though.
But Joe's just the experience.
Joe Rogan. Yeah, everybody thinks it's the Joe Rogan podcast. It's the Joe Rogan experience. I don't know.
JRE.
Yeah. Is Lex Friedman, his is podcast, right? Lex Friedman podcast? I don't know. Lex is tough to listen to.
Like Rob's don't even say podcast.
It doesn't. Cigar Store Idiots.
Then
That's
you got
true.
Louder with Crowder.
Louder with
Tim
Louder.
Cast.
Time Suck. That's one of my favorite ones.
Who does Time Suck?
What's his name? He's a comedian. He's a really funny one too. I'll tell you. Something coming. Dan Cummins. That's
okay.
it.
I know who
Dan
you're talking about.
Cummins. He does a lot of history stuff, but he
Yeah.
makes it really funny.
But Timcast though is sort of a play on podcast.
It is. It is.
I hadn't listened to Tim in a while. He gets to be too much. I can't listen to Timcast every day, but for so long, and then I'm like, I gotta take a breath
I don't know
and
what you're talking about.
it's politics. It's a political commentary, but it's like, I don't know. What has he got? 4 people in the studio,
Depends on the day.
and
Sometimes
then they
it's
bring
4
in
or
a
5.
guest,
Yeah.
and it's like they end up talking over each other and yelling a whole bunch. I can't. It stresses me out.
It's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, we got a good thing going here though. It's not like that where there's just a room full of people that all want to talk at the same time. Like, stop. You gotta relax. It stresses me out. And then they're talking about world politics and
World-ending things.
and
it's
stuff
like,
that's stressful anyway.
Well, speaking of politics, what about what's his name? Vivek? You don't watch that?
Vivek.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Man, that dude right there is, really making himself to be a target, isn't he? The stuff he's saying.
He is. He's trying to figure out now how to separate himself from the rest of the crowd. And
that's what he's
with
doing.
the last debate, it looked like he's done that. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I thought it was pretty dope when he told that, was it Chris Christie dude or whatever? It's all like the best thing you could do for the American people is shut up, leave this stage, and get out of this race. 'Cause you are corrupt.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, he got up there talking about how our biggest problems in America is the deep state.
I caught a little bit of that.
Yeah,
I didn't see what was directly directed toward
Chris
Christie. Yeah.
Oh, he talked smack about everybody up there. That lady that was right to his right, he kept roasting her, talking about how corrupt she was,
her
and she
name?
just stood there with
Nikki.
that look on her face.
Nikki. Yeah.
Nikki
He was
Haley.
roasting all of them.
Oh
All of
man.
them but DeSantis, and DeSantis just stood there quiet. What I watched, I didn't
Yeah.
watch the whole thing. I just saw the highlights. But DeSantis was standing there too. He was just being quiet. I didn't see him say anything about him.
Yeah. Maybe Ramaswamy's turning a corner because, he has been a plagiarist before. He ripped off an entire Obama speech at one point.
Well, I've seen that video too.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, well, I'm out on this dude. And I like Ron DeSantis. I think if I had my pick, that's who it would be. It would be the first president in my lifetime that was younger than me. So that was a little weird. I had to kind of get past that. But
How old is he?
he's 45 also, but he's like 6 months younger than me.
Oh, okay. That makes you feel
So
better. Okay.
yeah, he's a little bit, he's close. He was here in Rome for a year. He taught at Darlington for 1 year.
I got a picture with him at Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah, you did. You bumped into him at Buc-ee's. He was the one in Calhoun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was coming through, going somewhere else, and doing. He wasn't running for president at the time, though, right? This has been a
No.
couple of years.
It was weird. It was like Veterans Day or something.
Yeah.
And he'd just done a speech in Florida. And for some reason, a couple of hours earlier, I knew he was in Florida. And then I'm like, that's
Well, so I understand
wrong.
why wouldn't he fly? Why is he at Buc-ee's in Calhoun?
Don't judge him. Maybe he's doing
No,
I'm
I'm
pretty
just
sure
saying.
he was playing some golf at the Barnsley or something.
He might have been.
probably.
That's a good point.
Because that's where they all
I
go.
think that's right. I think he had.
That's where Pence and Trump and
Yeah,
Obama
they've been there.
and I don't know if Uncle Joe's played there, but a lot of them have.
Is Trump? Can those guys play? Are they good golfers?
Trump is.
Is he?
I mean, I've watched some videos of him. He's pretty good.
Yeah. I
He's
guess
been
so.
playing for 80 years. He
That was
gotta be
always
good.
my thing. Everybody busted up Obama for his 4 years because he played golf all the time, and then Trump did the same thing, and nobody seemed to mind. But I'm wondering, can those guys even play?
Well, Trump
are they
ain't getting
good?
paid.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, that's the difference. But yeah, it's take a vacation twice a week.
If you're getting paid, what can they say?
I mean, I got to figure if I was on the golf course that much, I'd be pretty good at it, I guess. So I don't have that much opportunity.
Well, there's guys on TikTok that like roast him, and it's funny.
It's hilarious. They'll roast him while he's playing, and he'll just look at him like, all right, cool.
And they do it to Caitlyn Jenner too.
Caitlyn Jenner.
It's funny. I ain't gonna say what they say, but
does Caitlyn Jenner play golf too?
Oh yeah, she's a great golfer. Or she, whatever. I don't want to name nobody, but
I know, right?
Anyway, but I mean, he's a conservative too,
right? Yeah.
But and he comes right back at him like it's.
No, you know what I did? I saw.
He's a good sport.
I saw a video the other day. Now you mentioned it, and it looked like they were playing together. But I mean, Bruce Jenner was an American hero, man. The decathlon, like. Got to still have at least a round of golf left in him. I'm just gonna call him. He's a dude. I hate it. Whatever. I'll call him if he wants his name to be Caitlyn. Like whatever. I'll call you Tango. That's not your name. But if you told me you were a woman tomorrow, I would tell you that you're wrong and you're not. So I'll call him Caitlyn. But he's still a dude.
Yeah.
Gotta be. You can't just change.
Cutting the rocks off your dog don't make it a female dog.
That's true. I mean, it doesn't, and you do that. That's a literal thing that you do. It doesn't make it any different.
Yeah, my dog don't have rocks, and he's still all boy.
Still a boy dog.
This is not child friendly at this point.
Rocks. XX or XY? How you like that? That's the deal. You can't change that.
You can't talk like that. Get us canceled.
The YouTubes don't like that.
I should have waited. I mean, we got until Sunday until they get Rumble back up. They kick us off of YouTube. I don't know. We don't have any serious strikes on YouTube yet.
No.
We got the one little ding for the copyright thing, but then they acknowledged that it was wrong, but they left it on there anyway.
And thanks to Justin Franklin, we got another copyright.
Oh, that's true. We shared Justin's video, and it dinged us on the copyright. We got 2 copyright dings. But it's not. They're not going to throw us off for that.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all the things that'll get us canceled. Guns. And Pizzagate. What else is there?
Everything, man. Everything. I don't know. I've been lately it's not a good time because we got a presidential election coming up. But I go through cycles where I'm involved in politics every day, and I learn everything that everybody said.
Yeah.
And then I need 6 months where I just don't have to care about it, and that's maybe that's not good either.
So I got a buddy that's pretty involved,
Yeah.
that I'm talking about, and he always trying to recruit me to get involved, and it's all like these things that they're trying to do, I stand behind. I really do. And I believe in what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm just all like, man, I got so much other stuff that I want to concentrate on. I don't want to deal with that because it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
If I get that involved into my local government, and I already have an idea of some stuff that I don't like about it.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If I really get involved, and I almost feel like I'm.
Well, you're investing in it, right? With your person, with your being, with your time, and there aren't enough hours in the day for me to be as involved in politics.
To get pissed off about a new thing.
There you go. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, we've all got our day jobs, and we've got our hobbies and our stuff we do. I got to prepare a sermon every week and do pastor stuff. We do this on Monday nights. The kids got stuff going on. Do I really have enough hours in the day to find new things that I have to learn enough about to make myself mad about them? You know what I mean? Come on. Because that's where it ends. You ultimately end up mad about one side or the other. You can come in, just don't walk in front of the camera. There you go.
And while it's... Appreciate that, Ayla.
No, you're good. My daughter just came in from jiu-jitsu and bear crawled under the camera so she wouldn't be on.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's... And you're never going to change anybody's mind. You know what I mean?
Especially not on social media.
Yeah, and I had this thought the other day because, I make these TikToks and videos about the machine work that I do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make one saying that I haven't done it yet. I just made a really cool video. But I'm sitting here boring these blocks and machining and decking these blocks. And all I can think of is I get in arguments on the internet with people that don't know crap. About why am I even wasting my time arguing with these people? These people have probably never done anything but put half a lift on a truck so the rear end is squatted and tinted the windows, and they have a build. they have a build, and I'm arguing with them. Like, why am I even wasting my time?
Yeah, well, yeah, you're not going to change their mind. Like, you just aren't. And you can just argue on Twitter or Facebook, whichever, and not realize, man, and this is the thing that we've learned more recently, right? The amount of bots out there that you're talking to, like they're people. And it's tough to tell sometimes. They're pretty intelligent, the way they're programmed or whatever.
I'm pretty sure half my followers on TikTok are probably bots, and I got like 7,000.
I would
probably a good 3,000 bots.
But if you got 1 million, I would say half of them are bots.
Yeah. Russian bots.
Yeah, right. They just
Russia.
We benefited early on in the podcast from a bot attack. Really? I don't know if it was an attack or not. Maybe not the best way to say it. Yeah. So somebody with a podcast created like thousands and thousands of bots to go pump up their numbers on the podcast.
Okay.
But you can't just do your podcast because that's suspicious. So you spread it out a little bit.
So they hit yours too?
They hit mine. Mine was one of like 7,000 podcasts that got a huge boost. I'm like 4 episodes in, and we got like 30 listens and 29 listens and 40 listens. And then we got 7,000 listens on this one episode. And I was like, all right, we're rocking and rolling. And I had 3 or 4 episodes that were that way, and they started falling off. And I was like, oh no, what are we doing wrong? And I started changing things and like working on social media and trying to get awareness. And then I read this article, and I was like, oh man.
I hope somebody does that again.
Wouldn't it be nice? We'll take it because it helped in the algorithm regardless. So it lasted, I think, 10 episodes that I had a really good boost.
So share this and make people play it, even if they don't want to listen. Just go play it. Just
hit
turn
play
it on your phone.
and then mute it and then just let it go.
Just
or
help
listen
us
to it
out.
on 2.5 speed.
Yeah.
We discovered that. It's pretty funny if you listen to us on half speed.
Yeah.
And we sound like...
You sound very drunk.
Yeah.
It's very hilarious.
Now, it takes 3 hours to listen to an hour-and-a-half show, but it's funny.
I remember doing that to the Rogan's podcast before, too. And it'd take you forever to listen to it, but man, it sure is funny.
It is. I could do a couple minutes of that, but I gotta.
As high as I can go is 1.3.
Yeah.
And still make out all of the conversation.
Right. Yeah. Well, especially when one of us or more talks like a hick, and I sound like I saw a thing the other day that said I didn't realize what my accent was like until I heard my recorded voice, and I sound like a bale of hay.
I sound like cornbread.
Yeah, right.
I go, welcome to Burnham Podcast.
Oh, man. We had to re-record the intro video because welcome Burnham Podcast. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you was what I said. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in. This is my refined radio voice.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome to Atlanta.
Man.
Ain't got no T's in that word.
Atlanta.
That's how you can know if they're really from the South
They
or
say
if they're
Atlanta.
not. It's Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
There's no T's.
No T's.
No T's
Atlanta.
at all.
They say Atlanta. No, you're not
to
from
Atlanta.
around here.
You're not from here.
Atlanta. I went to Atlanta yesterday to the airport. God bless them.
The worst part of Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I don't know if that's the worst part, but
Well, it's right down the road from College Park. That's about the worst part.
College Park is
rough.
You know, my brother's got to stop flying on Sundays because the original Chick-fil-A is right around the corner from the airport there.
And they closed.
Yeah, they close on Sundays. So anytime I go down there, I go to that Chick-fil-A. But the last 2 times I've been to the airport to drop Drew off and then to pick him back up again.
You go to Atlanta and you go to Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I mean, it's the original. They got a giant...
But it tastes the same as the restaurant.
But it's not the same, Chris. It's the original. I'll tell you this. They've got a state trooper in the parking lot directing traffic because it's just insane, but it's still super efficient because it's Chick-fil-A. And the service on the inside is like... They got like 15 people on break at any given time because they got 50 people at work. So, like, it's super service. They go above and beyond there.
I've been to that one then.
It's just one exit up 85. You're coming back towards Atlanta. It's one exit up 85 from...
I go to Atlanta. I'm like varsity, stuff I can never get.
That's true. One of these days they'll finish our varsity.
Well, they've been building a varsity here for a year and a half.
I know, yeah, and it's like it looks exactly the same as it did 6 months ago.
Finally got insulation boards put
Tango
on.
Go. What do you?
I was waiting. So you know the truth, where Chick-fil-A started. You know how it started?
Go.
Waffle House. That is where the first Chick-fil-A sandwiches were sold.
Kathy worked.
He worked at a Waffle House and invented the chicken sandwich.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a Waffle House. It was a Waffle House exclusive, except they didn't like it when it started out selling the waffles So they said, get out.
Yeah, they ran him off.
So he made his own thing after that.
Started his own
I didn't know
joint.
that
The
about
Waffle
him.
House created the Chick-fil-A.
That's kind of beautiful.
I
It really
love
is.
it.
It's like a real full circle thing, right?
Yeah.
My Southern heart loves it.
We love Waffle House at my house.
Oh man, the Waffle House is so good. It's so good.
It hasn't changed my whole lifetime. I think that's why we like it.
No, it's still like 1971 when you go in there.
Yep.
You know, and
Freeze dried potatoes.
yeah, and the guy on the grill might or might not be smoking.
If
you
he
know.
ain't smoking,
It ain't a good Waffle House.
it ain't any good.
Like, I need a fight out in the parking lot.
Right? Oh no, I guess that's weird, huh?
Yeah,
To me, Waffle House feels like home.
it does. It's nice. I
Because
like it.
growing up, my dad went to that Western Waffle House every night
Yeah.
before work. Worked at the same place 25 years. And every night, he worked third shift too. He'd go to that Waffle House for at least 2 hours and drink coffee and read a newspaper before he went to
Get
work.
fired
every
up
night.
about going to work.
Every night. Back then, you could still smoke in there. So you had
Yeah.
that little tin ashtray.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd sit there and drink coffee and smoke a cigarette. Every time I go in there, I look at that back booth. He'd sit in that same booth every time. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's kind of sweet every time I go in there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's kind of weird to feel that way about a Waffle House.
But I mean, it maybe, but no, that's your thing. You know, you like to think about when you go in there. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I had great fond memories of the Dorf House till they tore it down, too.
Mm.
When they took my buffet away, I got mad.
They hurt me with a buffet.
They
man.
did.
They hurt me. And but you know, I didn't think I was gonna like the drive-through thing either. When they walk up to the car, when they walk up to the car and they're like, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" I'm like, "Give me a minute, man, back up." But
I don't like that, but
it's so efficient.
it don't
though.
make me mad. There, what you need, Ayla? What you got? You don't have a microphone, sweetie. You're going to have to come over here if
You
we're
can
going to
come
hear
over-
you.
If you're gonna participate. Are you serious right now? We're in the middle of a podcast and you want to go spend money. Listen, all you guys out there, you future podcasters that have aspirations of having a successful podcasting show, don't let your teenage daughter come in the studio with you and ask you for food and trips to
The arts and crafts store.
crafting stores while you're in the middle of an episode. We're recording right now.
For the last 2 minutes of
have to
info,
stop. I
go to
know.
our Patreon.
Oh, holy smokes. These kids are so brazen these days. Like, they don't even care. They come through, walk into your set, and they ask you to go to Michael's and
To Mickles to get K-pop
Food.
supplies.
That would, yeah, I got you on that.
K-pop or cake?
cake pop. We don't do K-pop. in our
Okay.
house.
They
I
sell
was like,
pops at the
K-pop.
arts and crafts store.
Like the little ribbons and things that you tie on them, and you make little characters out of them, and it's a whole culture, cake pop
You
culture.
hijacked the podcast. Hope you're
It's a
happy.
cult.
Down there, right? Nice going. You're grounded. Give me your phone. All that said, we probably should wrap
Yeah,
up.
let's wrap it up. We've been rambling for a while.
Good hour and a half. This episode jumped the shark about 45 minutes ago, but
It was nice.
if you're still around, thank you. God bless you, man.
It was nice being back.
Yeah, it's good to
Y'all
have you back on.
welcome. Y'all be
Always good
welcome
to
next
have you
time I come back too.
For sure. We got Drew's in town. Drew's going to do a few episodes while he's here. We're going to put a bunch of them in the can. Who knows when they'll come out.
We'll
But
spread them out though.
yeah.
Just drop them all back to back.
yeah, no, that's silly. I ain't going to do that.
Well,
But,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, it'll be cool. He'll be here for the New Year's thing. Check out our New Year's show, 9 o'clock, New Year's Eve.
That's this many.
It's going to be on the Burnham Project YouTube page or over at Danny J. Burnham on Rumble. Hit us up. Also, share this podcast.
We
even
like
if you don't
Rumble
like it.
better.
We do like Rumble better. God bless them. We hope they recover soon. But it's been fun, man.
It
Thanks
has
for coming
been.
on.
Thanks for having me back. It was great.
Absolutely. God bless you guys. We love you. See you next time.
Bye bye.